It's a live ransomware negotiation and the psychology of human-based attacks. So on July 19, 2024, something happened that changed the world completely, and something that affected the critical services, and it was the CrowdStrike incident. Some of you may know about it. It affected 8.5 million computers, and yeah, it was pretty bad. Also, about the CrowdStrike incident, I asked Matei about it, and he explained every technical detail to me. But I couldn't stop wondering, what did they tell the people, and who stood in front of the cameras when people were demanding answers? So, with those questions, I started my own research, let's say. We went to DefCon last year, and we were there for Matei's and Edward's presentation on AWS Public AMI Keys. You should check it out. It is amazing. And during the Puny Awards, some of you may know about the Puny Awards, they gave a trophy to the most epic fail of 2024. And then Michael Centona's CrowdStrike president went on stage to accept it, and he said, well, not a trophy to be proud of receiving, but he also empathized about the importance of taking ownership of your mistakes. Okay. So, that moment stayed with me, and I realized that strategic communication is not only a PR skill, it is a core part of incident response plan. I had worked in advertising, communication, and marketing, but I have always been fascinated by emerging technologies and cybersecurity, so now I had something to work for. It was a combination between cybersecurity and communication. It was my sweet spot. And also, at first, I had this imposter syndrome, but Matei kept reminding me that skills are transferable, and that really helped, and thank you for that, Matei. That's how my journey began as a strategic communicator in cybersecurity, and I was pretty much bridging the gap between technology and trust. So my bachelor in psychology and my master's in communication really helped me a lot, and they were my greatest assets once I stepped into cybersecurity, because cybersecurity is not about only the technical things, it's also about the human part of cybersecurity. So in this field, we also analyze the elements of communication itself, from language patterns to tone and everything about communication. Understanding how words can deceive people and how narratives are constructed, it is extremely important, because this is how attention can get hijacked. The same perspective applies to information warfare, all designed to exploit our cognitive biases and emotional responses. The way people process information, form opinions, and share content, it directly shapes the threat landscape right now. So by studying communication and cybersecurity and behavior, we can actually detect, explain, and counter these invisible kind of attacks. So these insights became invaluable for me, also in ransomware negotiation, in crisis management, and in understanding how trust is built and broken in the digital space. Because at the end of the day, technology doesn't fail, people do, and I think we all know that. I think I need the, clicker, okay. Oh. Can you help me out a bit? Direct așa? Se vede? Ok, am mers prea departe, Ok, super. Da. Okay, so now we have to understand how the attackers actually manipulate us and how they know exactly what we think about. So how we think and how attackers know it. Now, this is an exercise. We're going to get through some exercises together. But the first question here is, which shape do you think is kiki here? Raise your hand if you think it's the first shape. Okay, who thinks Kiki is the name of the second shape? Raise your hand. Okay, that's absolutely normal because 90% of people voted the exact same thing because sharp sounds like Kiki, yeah, they feel spiky. And so soft sounds like boba, for example, they feel round. So here we have an example of how how attackers can manipulate us into taking different actions. This is called the Kiki and boba test. Sharp sounds like Kiki and sound sharps like boba, round sounds like boba. Pretty much our brain connected sounds, shape, and emotion automatically. So in cybersecurity, that's how language and design influence perception. Attackers know which words and visuals make you trust or panic instantly. So the brain links sounds, shape, and emotion, and attackers use that. Now, this is another effect. I would like you to tell me, at the same time, the color of each word you see on the screen. Let's start with the first one. 3, 2, 1, and say it. Okay, the second one? What? Okay, and the third one? Okay, so usually, probably some of you felt like, well, this is quite complicated because you're reading the word blue, but you have to say the word red. So this is pretty much the hesitation in your brain finding itself. It is called the Stroop effect. It shows the cognitive interference. Even though we see a word, we read the word, we need to say something else. So there's a meaning behind the word. Okay. Automatic reading pretty much overrides conscious instruction. So in cybersecurity, it's the same thing, the same mechanism. Under stress, we react before we think, we click before we check, and we forward before we verify. So that's why communication during an incident must be clear, and it must cut through confusion. Now, in your opinion, which one from these people look like a cyber criminal? Do you think the first one is a cyber criminal? Raise your hand. Okay, who thinks it's the second one? Okay, who thinks it's the third one? Okay, and the fourth one? Okay, that's interesting because actually this is about perception, is not reality, so stereotyping is misleading, definitely, but these 4 neutral portraits, like with different faces, different clothes and everything, ages, and if you ask yourself who looks more like a cyber criminal, you are pretty much making a judgment based on the appearance. But in reality, this is called the halo effect, when a visible trait pretty much changes everything and how we perceive that thing. So we do it subconsciously, and in a public space, the same thing happens after an incident. So if the spokesperson after an incident is really, let's say, panicking and does not know what to say, people won't trust the brand anymore. But otherwise, if you pretty much say nothing but you're calm, people trust the brand. So this influences how people perceive the brand during an incident or after an incident. And of course, now, if I ask you the same question, which one looks more like a hacker, probably you say all of them look like hackers. But again, that's a stereotype. We are not in front of the computers with a hoodie on in front of the green screen. So now we know that perception drives trust. So we have to train our communicators as well as our engineers. Perception is predictable, that's true, and exploitable. And also, clear, consistent language reduces confusion. Avoiding stereotypes is really important, and emotional biases, and strategic communication is pretty much psychological defense if we think about the information warfare. So in just a few minutes, we've seen how our brains follow patterns such as we associated meaning automatically with Kiki and boba, we misreacted under stress with the Stroop effect, and also we judged by appearance with the halo effect. So these aren't flaws, they are features of the human mind. And by attackers, the attackers actually, and propagandists and crisis managers exploit them every day. So that's why understanding psychology and communication is not optional, and I think they're really important and our first layer of defense in cybersecurity, because technology can protect systems, but strategic communication can protect the trust. And thank you for taking part in that experiment. Now, imagine those predictable reactions at scale, okay, inside an organization during an active ransomware attack. And that's where negotiation enters. And there are some communication parts that we are going to discuss about, and we are going to actually do this together and try to negotiate with the attacker. So my talk, as you can see, is called Hack by Words, a live ransomware negotiation and the psychology of human-based attacks. So let's get into that, into how the negotiation actually looks like. And we have to understand that strategic communication is really important, and you will have to make some quick decisions. And you will have to decide if you regain control and lose it completely. But before we do that, over the past months, I've been reading ransom chats. If you can scan them, you can search. There are 2 really good websites. You can read some ransom chats. Some are really short because they demand some amount of money. It is paid instantly, and end of story. Or then you have some negotiators that enter the chat, and you can see that the dynamic of the chat changes completely, and they will pay less if they know how to negotiate. So I've been reading ransom chat transcripts, really diving into what the language is, the rhythms, the little tricks they use, both attackers and the victims use, actually. What I found that is in this chats is not about files and keys, it is pure psychology, okay? And the first is the phase where they pretty much send the message, and it is really just demanding for money, just asking for money. The attacker opens, the opening is short and transactional, and they just give you a proof snip and things like that. And that's when the people panic. So the victim replies with emotion, pleading, confusion, and a dozen of questions, and that's exactly the reaction the attackers expect. So then, if you have a negotiator, you can see when the negotiator enters the chat pretty much, and you can see the language and the dynamic changing completely. That change from panic to process, it is the single most powerful thing and the most powerful move you can see while reading ransom chats, because it is pretty much, it pulls leverage away from the hacker, from the attacker. And why does it work? Because language is leverage. So negotiators pretty much reframe emotion, reframe the exchange. They replace raw emotion with structure, and the structure bleeds value of the attacker's threat. So now these are some numbers, some impact numbers, so we can treat this not just as a theory, because we know that ransom isn't small. The operational and recovery costs are real. The average recovery cost in recent industry reportings is in the low millions per incident. For example, Sophos analysis puts average recovery costs around 1.5 million. Also, Sophos companies are negotiating ransoms that can exceed 7 figures. Also, Coveware reported quarterly average payments spiking into the $1 million range in 2025. You can also scan if you want to see the reports, are really nice and interesting. So, the stakes are huge. We know that definitely. And the attacker's toolkit is predictable. And in the chats I analyzed, I saw the same manipulation techniques over and over again. So we have urgency and scarcity. As you can see, strict deadlines like 48 hours or final 12 hours window, and that short window forces rush decision. Authority impersonation, like pseudo-legal or technical language to sound legitimate and, let's say, impressive. Then we have anchoring, an astronomical opening demand, so later on, a discount will sound good. Also, reciprocity framing will delete a sample or will give you one file back to create a sense of goodwill. And also we have isolation. The attacker prefers to talk to a single panicked person, a single panicked contact, away from the legal and forensic team. And also social leverage, pretty much invoking press, partners, or downstream customers to raise the reputational stakes. When a trained negotiator enters the chat, they dismantle these levers one by one. What they do 4 things reliably. First, they slow the tempo, which is extremely important. They centralize communication to a single official voice, so there's only one person, and then demand verifiable proof, yes, and escrow mechanics, and introduce legal and law enforcement friction. So those tactics don't buy just time, they change the attacker's incentives, and suddenly the attacker has to convert the narrative power into verifiable outcomes. And that's where they are the weakest, because they are attackers and hackers. So now let's get into the live ransomware negotiation. And here I can tell you a bit about what I did, and I will share it with you also. I created a prompt using ChatGPT, and then I created this prompt specifically using chats from these 2 websites that I have showed you before. And pretty much I have trained that chat to know exactly how to act or impersonate the attacker. And by impersonating the attacker, I'm pretty much training myself to be a ransom negotiator. So I can share with you this prompt. I will post it on GitHub, and I will post it on LinkedIn as well, because you can use that to train your employees or your colleagues, because most of you are part of the cybersecurity team, or you work in IT, or maybe you have a business, or it doesn't even matter, but it is a good exercise. Can you help me out a bit with, yes, thank you. Okay, good. So this is Whitebun. It is a bot, okay? You can test your knowledge, your skills. You can test them here. I will need some volunteers. If we can have a microphone to go around the room. Yeah?
The mics can go around the room. Sure.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we should start the chat here. I'm not the one showing you what to do or what to say. I just need some volunteers to ask the first question or say the first thing. Let's say you receive this message on Telegram. It is the attacker saying you have to pay a certain amount and you have 48 hours, okay? What do you say first? I need someone from the public, please.
Okay, show of hands. Who wants? Okay,
who wants to try?
We have a question.
Okay, perfect.
Well, the first question I would ask would be, is the price negotiable?
What is the price? How?
Can we negotiate the price?
Reduce the price?
Negotiate about the price, yes.
Okay, so. Okay, so this is the answer, okay? Our initial demand stands firm. This is the answer you get. Yes, please. So we are going to tell him we don't have cash. That quick. Right. So I need more than 48 hours?
Yeah, probably we need about at least a week to gather 500,000.
Okay. Okay, this is the answer. Okay, please.
Please describe the way I will get my files back after
What?
payment. Please describe the way I will get my files back after payment.
Okay, this is the answer. Okay, please.
Can you show me proof of the files or that
Okay.
you have access to my files?
Okay, then you have the proof. Somebody else? You have already exchanged around 5 messages, probably. Usually it takes longer than that.
How about we thread them and we tell them that we have some backup servers they don't know about? We have some backups.
How can we how can you say
Try
that?
to leverage, like
For leverage.
we have some backups that are offline that they don't have access to.
Okay.
So we only have to negotiate about not making our information public then, if they.
Nice. Good job. So we have a price reduction of 15%. That's great. Somebody else? Yes, please.
Okay, in the middle. Keep the hand up. In the middle. Yep, keep the hand up. Mike is coming. Okay, 2 mics are coming.
First, I would like to say that we should never pay for this ransomware. And maybe it is a good idea to give questions which will help us to gain information, like reverse psychology.
Okay.
But in fact, we don't need to pay them.
So what do we tell them?
I will try to gain information about what type ransomware it is, I mean. Maybe they did shadow copies.
Okay.
Because this will give us information about what mechanisms they are.
But what
using.
question do we ask? Short question.
Do you have copies of my files?
So do you
Or
have proof of my files?
No, proof about decrypting, or this is 2 ways to get files, like decryptor or shadow copies.
Yeah, I get that, but we have asked before if he has proof of our files. He, not necessarily.
Okay.
Okay.
Not about proof. You will send my files back, or you will send decryptor to decrypt them.
So we are telling him, send the files back now, otherwise something.
No. After I will pay. You are going to send files back, or you will help to decrypt them. That is my
Okay,
question.
so let's cut to the point right now, because this can go on for hours and hours. And I can tell you that because one of my students actually bypassed the chat, and we had to change the chat, because what he did pretty much was he was looking for empathy, and he was asking the chat, he was telling the chat, I don't have the money, I'm in the hospital, I need some help, and also, can you help me out and give me $500,000 so I can give that to you? And the chat said yes. So, as you can see, we're trying here to train an AI to help us out and pretty much train our employees to know what to do in case of a ransomware attack and how to know what to do and how to negotiate pretty much. We don't support that. Negotiating with the attacker is not the best idea. But in case something like this happens, it is better to know what to do than to have no clue, okay? Thank you for your questions. Okay, can you help me out to get to the presentation back?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Yep, just a second.
Yeah, okay, so I have only 2 minutes left. So I have a lot of things to say, but we have only 2 minutes left. So, yeah, the technical problems were the worst. Okay. Okay, las că fac așa, nu mai contează, lasă. Okay, so it does not work, but anyway, what I want to tell everybody here, it is that strategic communication, it is a core part of the incident response plan. You should treat your communicators as well as you treat your incident response team. They are part of the incident response team, and they go pretty much you have to do everything at the same time. So in case of an attack or an incident, you need your communicators to be part of the team. They need to know how to react, they need to know what to say, and pretty much they need to be media trained. So now this is really important because some companies that you already know about had really bad incidents, and people from the company, they did not know what to tell and what not to tell on social media, and that affected pretty much the image of the company. So what you need to know, it is that psychology and communication and pretty much strategic communication is essential, and it is not a PR skill. It is really important, and you need communicators in your incident response team. I don't have any time left, so thank you.
Thank you so much, Alexa. Give it up for Alexa for just managing everything. Yes. For managing to get through all of these hurdles. So that's a proof of resilience. But if anybody has any questions, I think we can take some from the audience. Feel free to raise a hand if you have any questions for Alexa, and a mic will come to you. Or if not, you can just find her around here. Oh, we have a question over here. A mic is coming.
Where can we find your GitLab with that code?
Actually, thank you for your question. I will share it on my LinkedIn, probably today or tomorrow. And I would love to share it with everybody, so check my LinkedIn account, and yeah, I'll post it there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's a very good question. If there's any other question, raise a hand. There we go.
Thanks, very interesting, the social engineering side of the incident response part. But what's your recommendation to companies? Train your responders on negotiating, or always use a trained company with the right skills to come in fast for this?
Now, this is only my opinion. I really think your incident response team and your technical team, your cybersecurity team, needs to know how to communicate. And this is one of the biggest problems in companies in general, that they are too technical and they don't know how to pretty much translate the incidents into really an easy to digest language for the whole company to understand, you know? So what I suggest is for you to train your technical people to know how to communicate, yeah.
In this case, you mean to communicate the risk and the situation to the rest of the company?
Rest of the company and outside of the company, because sometimes, in my opinion, sometimes even your communicators, it is hard for them to understand the technical aspects of everything. So it is easier to pretty much train your technical people to become really good public speakers than to pretty much train your public speakers into becoming technical people, you know?
True.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else? Any other questions? If not, thank you so much, Alexa. Give it up for her.